The history of the Comanche tribe is one of the most remarkable yet often overlooked narratives in American history. Despite their profound impact, the Comanches are frequently absent from the broader historical conversation. Both the Spanish and the French were forced to halt their expansions, northward and westward, respectively, largely due to the Comanches. In fact, this powerful tribe delayed the U.S. government's ability to develop Texas and the surrounding Plains states by an astonishing 40 years. Originally, the Comanches were part of the Shoshone Tribe, sharing the Shoshone language and adopting a hunting and gathering lifestyle in the Great Basin of the western United States. However, their story took a pivotal turn in the late 17th century when they acquired horses, marking the beginning of a cultural transformation that would define their history. The introduction of the horse revolutionized Comanche society, granting them newfound mobility and turning them into one of the most formidable mounted tribes of the Great Plains. They left their ancestral homeland in the Great Basin, moving to the plains of eastern Colorado and western Kansas. Eventually, they migrated further south, drawn by a warmer climate, ample buffalo herds, and the abundant wild Mustang horses that roam the southern plains. This new region became their homeland, and with it came new relationships. The Comanches engaged in trade with the French, exchanging buffalo hides and furs for firearms and ammunition. They also traded with the Wichita tribe along the Red River, maintaining alliances and fending off stronger tribes like the Blackfoot and Crow. As they expanded their influence, they established a vast territory that stretched over much of northern, central, and western Texas, known as Comancheria. This land became the heartland of the Comanche people. Interestingly, the tribe's name, Comanche, derives from a Ute word meaning enemy, or those who fight all the time. However, the Comanches referred to themselves as Nemina, meaning the people. Their society was organized into bands that operated independently, though they were united by kinship ties. A distinctive feature of their social structure was that men would leave their families upon marriage to join their wives' families, keeping their society fluid but tightly bonded. Buffalo were a cornerstone of Comanche life, providing food, clothing, shelter, and tools. However, it was the horse that truly defined their culture. Comanche warriors became renowned for their exceptional horsemanship, allowing them to conduct highly effective buffalo hunts and wage war with unprecedented speed and agility. Horses were not just a tool, but a status symbol. They represented wealth, were traded for goods, and became central to Comanche identity. Children were taught to ride at an early age, and no other tribe in North America could match the Comanches in terms of their equestrian skills. Politically, the Comanches were governed through a democratic structure. Each band elected both peace and war chiefs, although the peace chief generally held more sway. Leadership was not passed down through families, but earned through consensus. As they migrated further south into Texas in the early 18th century, the Comanches came into conflict with the Apaches, who had previously dominated the region. Through a series of bloody battles, the Comanches emerged victorious, driving the Apaches further south and solidifying their control over the southern plains. One of the most notable incidents occurred in 1758 when a force of 2,000 Comanches and their allies attacked a Spanish mission along the San Saba River, which had been established to convert the Apaches. The mission was destroyed, and several inhabitants, including 2 priests, were killed. A year later, the Spanish attempted retaliation under Colonel Diego Ortiz Parilla, but they were decisively defeated in a battle along the Red River. Unable to defeat the Comanches militarily, the Spanish shifted to diplomacy, forging peace treaties that were inconsistently honored depending on the threat posed by the Apaches. In 1785, Spanish authorities ventured into Comancheria to negotiate a formal peace treaty, offering gifts and promises of peace that would last until the close of the 18th century. By this time, the Comanche population had grown to an estimated 20,000 to 40,000 people. However, as Spanish influence declined in the early 19th century, they struggled to fulfill their promises, and Comanche raids resumed. These raids targeted Spanish territories, and the stolen horses and goods were often traded with American settlers entering Texas from the east. The political landscape shifted dramatically in 1821 when Mexico gained independence from Spain. The new Mexican government had little impact on the Comanches, who continued to control their vast territory. In fact, Mexican officials even tried to incite other tribes, like the Shawnees and Cherokees, to wage war against the Comanches. At the same time, Mexico's 1824 colonization law encouraged U.S. settlers to move into Texas, leading to escalating tensions between the Comanches and the new arrivals. These settlers, encroaching on Comanche hunting grounds, soon became their primary adversaries. When Texas declared its independence from Mexico in 1836, the Comanches still dominated the plains. Their raids on frontier settlements became more frequent, and during one such raid, they captured a 9-year-old girl who would later become the mother of Quanah Parker, the last great Comanche chief. Sam Houston, the first president of the Republic of Texas, proposed a peace policy with the Comanches, but the Texas Congress rejected the tribe's demand for a formal boundary line between Texas and Comancheria. Without this agreement, the conflict continued. Houston's successor, Mirabeau B. Lamar, took a much more aggressive stance toward the Comanches. He rejected any notion of peace and advocated for total war against the tribe. This hardline approach led to the Council House fight in 1840, where a peace negotiation in San Antonio turned violent. Texas officials attempted to arrest the Comanche delegation, sparking a bloody battle that left 35 Comanches dead, including 12 chiefs. In retaliation, the Comanches, led by Buffalo Hump, launched a massive raid across South Texas, devastating towns like Victoria and Linville. The raid left 25 Texans dead, but on their way back north, the Comanches were intercepted by Texan forces near Plum Creek. Despite their fierce resistance, the Comanches were defeated, suffering heavy losses. By October, Texas launched another campaign against the tribe, attacking and destroying a Comanche camp near present-day Colorado City. While the Comanches retreated beyond the Red River, both sides endured significant losses, and the Texans only succeeded in temporarily pushing the tribe away from their borders. Even when Sam Houston returned to office in 1841 and tried to restore his peace policies, lasting peace remained elusive. Texas was annexed by the United States in 1845, and the U.S. government took over Indian affairs in the region. To prevent further conflict, 2 reservations were established in Texas by 1854. Years of warfare, disease, and the decimation of the buffalo herds had taken a severe toll on the Comanche people. Around 350 of them moved onto the reservations, but many bands continued to roam freely across the plains. During the Civil War, Comanche raids intensified due to the lack of frontier defenses, but after the war, the federal government reasserted control and resumed treaty negotiations with the Plains tribes. The 1867 Treaty of Medicine Lodge Creek was one of the most significant agreements, establishing a reservation for the Comanches, Kiowas, and Kiowa Apaches in Indian Territory. As their way of life eroded, the Comanches found leadership in a young medicine man named White Eagle, who inspired hope with his promises of victory. At the same time, a charismatic war chief, Quanah Parker, emerged as a key figure in the tribe's resistance. In 1874, under their leadership, Comanche warriors attacked buffalo hunters at Adobe Walls in Hutchinson County. Despite their bravery, the Comanches were repelled by the hunters, whose long-range rifles gave them a significant advantage. The U.S. government responded swiftly, launching the Red River War of 1874-1875 to drive all remaining tribes onto reservations. Under Colonel Ronald S. McKenzie, U.S. forces attacked a Comanche camp in Palo Duro Canyon, capturing and killing their horses and destroying crucial supplies. With their resources depleted, many Comanches were forced to surrender to survive the harsh winter. Quanah Parker and his band of Comanches held out for nearly a year on the Staked Plains before finally surrendering in 1875. With their capitulation, the last free Comanches were confined to reservations. Once numbering in the tens of thousands, by 1875, the Comanche population had dwindled to just 1,600. They were relocated to the Fort Sill Reservation, where they shared land with the Kiowas and Apaches. The reservation era marked a drastic shift in their way of life. The U.S. government aimed to transform the Comanches from warriors and hunters into farmers, eroding their traditional culture. The reservation period officially ended in 1901 with the signing of the Jerome Agreement, under which each Comanche, Kiowa, and Apache was allotted 160 acres of land. While additional land was set aside for government use, the tribes had to relinquish over 500,000 acres. Comanche leaders protested the allotment, but their objections were overruled, and settlers soon outnumbered the Comanches in their own land. As time went on, economic opportunities drew many Comanches away from the reservation. World War II provided new chances for employment, and many Comanches joined the military or worked in defense industries. Notably, 17 Comanche code talkers played a crucial role in the war effort, using their language to create a code that was never broken by the Germans. By the 1960s, a resurgence of native pride and nationalism led the Comanches to rebuild their community. They established a tribal government near Lawton, Oklahoma, and today, the Comanche Nation has around 16,000 members, with about 8,000 residing in southwestern Oklahoma. Despite centuries of hardship, the Comanches have retained their sense of identity, embodying resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. Thank you for watching. If you found this story interesting, please like, subscribe, and support our channel for more content.